All right, y'all wanted me to finish up about little Jimmy, man, so I'm gonna break this one down about little Jimmy.
Mecca what? Mecca audio.
All right, now calm down. Yeah, I'm gonna give you little Jimmy joint part two. This is little Jimmy in the shoe. All right, just so y'all understand. Little Jimmy, like I was telling you yesterday, for those that missed it, was a little Chinese dude out of New York. Wasn't nothing nice. 5'6", 140 pounds, looked like Bruce Lee. You know, he out in LOMPOC, California. He ain't messing with nobody. He just doing his own thing, and he in the mix. He hustling. You know, he out there selling heroin, doing what he got to do. You know, and then the Bloods move on him, and you know, cause they know he all alone because he chose to be all alone, but they had a rude awakening when they found out that he was pushing that knife and was prepared for him when they tried to rob him in the morning. So now, after they rob him in the morning, he winds up in the shoe. So now he in the shoe, and while he back there, he go to R&D. They check him out for bruises. They take, you know, the books off him because he got the books taped around his chest with the ace bandage. So they go look, and a couple of the blood dudes had little puncture wounds on him where he stabbed them up. You know what I mean? But when the police went and took his shirt off and saw that he had these books around him, they started laughing. And of course, you know, everybody root for the underdog, you know? So they take the joints off and unwrap his little knife-proof vest and all that. So now they put Jimmy in a cell by himself because they know that, you know, they can't really put him with nobody because they don't know who might try and get him for the Bloods. So now they put him in a cell by himself. Little Jimmy laid back. So this how he got down the shoe. He sat there and he made a knife out of everything. I mean, this dude was creative. I mean, we already know a pen is a knife, you know, but he used to take the food tray. You know, they bring you the food tray, come in a little tray with the slots, and then they got a little plastic top on it. He used to take the food tray and carve a knife out of that joint and be on the ground, you know, laying out. He ain't even sleep on the bed. He just used to lay on the ground all the time on his blanket. So he laying on his blanket, and every time the police walk by or, you know, we coming back from rec, because we got to go to rec. That's just the way it look behind me. This how the whole look over there. They got 2 floors just like that, 3 floors. So the rec is on the first tier. So they got to walk you down them top tier and bring you down to the bottom. Now, you know, that's where you change out. That's the shower right behind me, right? So now they bring him down to go to the shower, and you got to walk by all them cells, you know, in order to get to the shower. So while you walking by all them damn cells to get to the shower, you got all these Bloods up in there, Crips up in there, because, you know, when it's another race, like I said, everybody come together. You know what I mean? So the Bloods and the Crips, they came together for Chinese Jimmy, you know? Little Jimmy, one man, you know, because he was the only Chinese on the whole compound. Because, you know, my man hit me up, wanted to know about the Chinese car. So he's sitting in there, and every time, you know, they walking by for shower, you know, dudes is trying to reach at him through the cell, you know, but Jimmy Walker with his head up high, with his hands behind his back, you know what I mean? You know, and the police got him against the rail instead of against, you know, the cells so that, you know, inmates can't get to him, you know? But we had this one dude there that was from Indiana that took up the beef with Jimmy. Now, the dude from Indiana was old Wild Boy, you know? I'm not even going to say his name because I ain't get in touch with him, you know? But my man, he was from South Bend, Indiana, official gladiator. I didn't even know they had gladiators coming out of South Bend. You know what I mean? I got locked up in 93, so I didn't even know. But this dude was crazy, right? Anyway, so little Jimmy walking by, and the dude from Indiana, he always kept his foot on the police neck so hard that, you know, he used to make, you know, little bottles like this that he'll put feces in and urinate in, and, you know, put a boiled egg in it, crush it up, put it in it, shake it up, and then he'll put it in the sun and let it sit and ferment, you know? And then whenever the police came by and they didn't want to give him something, he'll pull the top off that damn bottle. And when he took the top off that bottle and the smell came out, man, it stunk up every unit, every cell in the area. You could smell this joint, right? But now he'll threaten to throw that on people. You know what I mean? That's called a shit bottle. You know what I mean? So he threatening to, as we say in the shoe, shit him down. You know? Yeah. So take these terminologies, you know what I mean? That's the shit bottle, and he gonna talk about he gonna shit him down. So every time Jimmy going by with the police, Indiana at the door, you know, gritting and, you know, taking up the beef. So now Indiana going to the wreck or go to the shower. As you see the shower and all that at the front of the unit, those are the two big doors up top is the shower. So those, you know, at the front of the unit, so everybody got to walk from in the back all the way down in order to get to these showers, and you got to walk by Jimmy's cell to get to the shower, and vice versa. So when they bring in Jimmy over to the shower, dudes up there threatening him, calling them names. Jimmy just laid back in his bed when they go into the shower, reading his book, letting them know they not even phasing him. So the police kind of liked Jimmy and they felt sorry for Jimmy. So what they do is they move Jimmy out the cell. Not out the cell, but they give him a job outside the cell to be the orderly. The orderly is the one that clean up the shower when it's done, pick up the food trays when it's done, you know, and everything else, you know. So they try to put him on the ranges, you know, when they're on there. So in other words, when you go down the range, the police is at the gate so that he could see that nobody's trying to stab Jimmy through the bars or trying to do anything to little Chinese Jimmy. But Jimmy ain't worried about none of that. Jimmy just doing what he got to do. So now the dude from Indiana, he gets in his feelings because Jimmy gets cool with the counselor. The counselor used to come through and give out free stamps, you know what I mean, for people that what they call indigent. So they give out stamps, you know, little book of stamps, 5 stamps it's supposed to be. But, you know, you con them out of a book every week and you wind up, you know, getting penitentiary rich from in a hole. But, you know, the count's supposed to give you 5 stamps a week, you know, a stamp to put on a letter one day a week. But, you know, Indiana used to work the counselor out of everything, you know what I mean? Now, Indiana started, you know, feeling the counselor because he know the counselor from on the compound. Now, I'm going to have to tell you about Indiana, too. We might be telling you about Indiana, so I'm not going to get too much into Indiana character, but I'm going to keep it on how he had the issue with Jimmy. So Indiana sit there, and every time the counselor come, he get the counselor to pull him out so he can make a free call to call his girl. Remember, we locked in the cell 23 hours a day, so to get out to call your girl, that's big. So every time he comes, this black counselor had a little afro, little skinny dude, you know what I mean? With his little tight ass, you know, clothes on, looked like a old factory worker, you know. But this the counselor, you know, the administration that worked there that come around, you know, for K unit, you know, this for old Jimmy unit. But this dude here is not even the counselor for his block, you know, for Indiana. But Indiana put so much pressure on the police with this shit bottle that whatever he wanted, they tried to accommodate him because they didn't want to be shit down. And he threatened them with that shit bottle regular. So he comes over in the joint, and when he comes, the counselor come and gives him a call, so they got to take him down, handcuff, bring him down there, and then, you know what I mean, the counselor would have them put the handcuffs in the front, so that, you know, you could dial the phone while you handcuffed in the front, because they walk you down on the chair with your handcuffed to the back. So they walk him down there, and he go down there. So he down there, he on the phone, he talking, and little Jimmy, you know, is the orderly out there. So while Jimmy cleaning up, Indiana asked him for some extra towels or something like that. And Jimmy said, all right, I got you. But Jimmy got caught up cleaning up, you know, a bloody cell where 2 cellies was stabbing each other in the cell, right? Because he the orderly. So he cleaned up the bloody cell, and the counselor's ready to leave, so the counselor takes Indiana back upstairs, and Jimmy didn't get to give him the towels. So now Indiana takes it personal, and he ready to do something to Indiana. So now he got an all-out war. Indiana cold disrespected him because ain't nobody never told him no for nothing, much less no old Chinese boy out of New York. And that's where his mentality was. So now, every time he go to rank, he threatening Jimmy now. You know, he threatening Jimmy more harder than the Bloods that he stabbed. You know, man, I'm gonna kill you, Chinese boy, woo, 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 woo. And, you know, you ain't nothing but a noodle eating. And he calling them all these old racist Chinese, you know, Asian jokes, you know, and he's going off. But Jimmy ain't paying that no mind. So he kept going at it and going at it. So now he down there, and when the counselor come, he go down there again. And when he go down there and the counselor, you know, make the phone call for him and, you know, hit him off with little stamps and he come back up. When he come back up and go back upstairs now, he walking upstairs and the orderly's out there and Indiana tries to kick little Jimmy. You know what I mean? Now he tried to kick little Jimmy and spit on little Jimmy and tried to call him all kinds of Asians, you know, whatever you could think of, to poor little Jimmy, you know? So Jimmy, the orderly, he don't want to get put back in the cell, so he ignores it and he goes in the cell. Excuse me. He ignores, yeah, I'm a little under the weather still, but I'm getting there, you know? Yeah, so he ignores it. Hit the like button, man. Hit the like button, right? So he ignores it. And don't forget the Cash App, man. I ain't tell y'all that in a minute. So he ignores it and he goes in his cell, you know? But Jimmy tried to kick him. Indiana tried to kick him, so now they got their own little beef, and nobody disrespect little Jimmy. Jimmy gets away with it. So little Jimmy comes by, and they used to have like the plumber come through, and they'll bring tobacco, but you know, and they had to go in the back of the tier. Like you see the way the cells is behind me right now. Well, there's a whole nother unit right behind that, but in between the unit, it's a catwalk because on the back of the cell is where the toilet, the sink, and the faucets is at. So when they got to turn off the water or fix the plumbing, they got to go behind the cells, but in between each other. You understand? And they got like, that's where the vents is at and all that. So now, the plumber used to come and have to go down that back trap, they call it, you know? So when they come down and go down the back trap, you know, the plumber there, and you talk to them and they, you know, open a pipe, slide you a kite, slide you tobacco, tell you what's going on or whatever. So everybody was back there waiting on the plumber every Friday, because that's when they, you know, the plumbers come in on Friday. So they'll come, they bring a little tobacco, whatever they're going to do, and they get up there in the shoe. But then now, when they come up there and the plumbers leave, Jimmy gets the thing open. They leaves it open for Jimmy to go clean up because Jimmy the orderly. Jimmy goes up in the back of the joint, because mind you, he beefing with Indiana. He goes up in the back of the cell, yeah, in the back of the, you know, behind the cells, in the catwalk, and he's sharpening a knife. You know what I mean? He's sharpening on the concrete, you know, right behind Indiana's cell. You understand what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm in the cell with Indiana. So I'm listening to this now. I could clearly hear it. I said, yo, family, you hear that? And he said, yeah, what is that? I said, man, that's somebody sharpening a knife. You know what I mean? And he said, well, ain't nobody back there, because the plumbers wouldn't be sharpening no knife, or the plumbers left, you know? So he back there, and all your so next thing you know, man, Indiana said, yo, that's that mother effing Jimmy. You know, that's Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy trying to intimidate me, huh? Okay, I'm gonna get Jimmy. You know, I'm gonna get Jimmy. So he goes in the vent and he cusses Jimmy out and tells Jimmy, I'm gonna get you. But Jimmy always was quiet because the police is always around. But now he in that back catwalk and he's in the vent and he's talking to him. So he's telling Indiana, don't you ever think you gonna spit on me or any Chinese in your life and get away with it. This is what little 6 foot Jimmy telling Indiana. And Indiana like 6'6", 6'7", tall, slim, black dude, you know, cut up. But Jimmy in the vent going toe to toe with him, lip to lip, telling him straight up, I'm gonna get you. Don't you ever spit on a Chinese and think you gonna get away with it.
Mecca what? Mecca audio.
All right, so now all this go down and they take Indiana back downstairs, you know, the following week to go to make the phone call with the counselor and go get the free stamps. So when he go back down, they go get the thing, he's talking trash and he's talking about how he gonna bust out of it. He telling me that he gonna bust out of his cuffs and mess Jimmy up when they go down there, because the council always take the cuffs off and let him put the cuffs in the front. So when the council take the cuffs off, he planned on jumping on Jimmy and whooping him. But now when he come down there, this time I guess the council got with what was going on, but Jimmy didn't tell. Let's get that straight. But they must have got with what's going on. So when he came down there, they didn't take the cuffs from in the back to put him in the front. They left him in the back, you know what I mean, and held the phone to his ear and put it on speaker, you know what I mean, when it was time for him to talk. Now, here comes Jimmy. You know what I mean? He done talk, Indiana done talking, and the police getting ready to bring him up. So Indiana ready to make a move on him. So as soon as, the police go and get Indiana by the arm, and he's walking him out to take him up the stairs to go back up to the cells, Jimmy, they yell fire in the hole. Whenever the police yell fire in the hole, the orderly knows to go in the cut in one of those rooms, but they ain't got to lock the door because the orderlies usually be trained, and they don't want to lose the job, but they just know to just go in the thing, to get out of sight. So they yell fire in the hole, they bringing old Indiana out. So when they yell fire in the hole, here come Indiana come walking out, So as soon as he come walking out, here go little Jimmy come run out with the knife and started trying to get him. But luckily, Indiana was, like I said, like 6'7". So he can't cuff behind his back, but he kicking to keep him away. When he busy stabbing him, he's stabbing him in his foot. You know what I mean? And the police trying to calm little Jimmy down, and little Jimmy ain't going for it, because normally a dude that get an orderly job ain't going to get his job up like that. You know what I mean? So, they fighting where Jimmy not handcuffed or nothing because he was the trusted orderly, but Indiana is handcuffed behind his back, and Jimmy's attacking him, trying to stab him for spitting on him. You know what I mean? Because I told you, Jimmy wasn't having it. So they going at it, bong, bong, bong. And he must have kicked Jimmy's hand or something like that. He kicked Jimmy's hand, so now Jimmy gets furious, and Jimmy runs straight in. That was Jimmy's mistake. He picked his foot up, put it dead in Jimmy's chest. Boom. And pinned him up against the wall. Little Jimmy against the wall, got the knife in his hand. He ain't letting the knife go. The police yelling, drop the knife. And he's swinging it, trying to get to him. But Genzo, Indiana, holding him by the foot. You know what I mean? Up on the wall, and he leaning on him so he can't move. And the police is glad that he got Jimmy pinned, because Jimmy was going ape crazy up in that joint, swinging a knife. He trying to get to him. He's so mad that this dude spit on him, and Jimmy don't let nothing go. So they wind up breaking it up. They lock him up. So then now they say, okay, we got to get rid of Jimmy. You know what I mean? Now Jimmy done turned into the aggressor. Before on the compound, they was trying to get with Jimmy, so we let Jimmy go. But then now, now we back over here. He in the shoe. We trying to protect him. We know he gonna stay back here longer for them to find somewhere to send him where there ain't no bloods at. And then now he attacking another inmate with no handcuffs. Now, if he would have killed the inmate, it would have fell on the police, because all inmates supposed to be handcuffed at all time, but they leave you unhandcuffed when you're the orderly because it makes it easier, so they don't have to keep doing so much work or open and close the cuffs every time they move somebody down the tier. So they moved Jimmy and sent Jimmy ass, you know what I mean? Designated him and, was getting ready to get him to leave. But right now they just want to get rid of Jimmy because they can't believe Jimmy disrespected him like that and tried to push the knife. So they pack him up, and the next day Jimmy getting ready to leave. Jimmy go downstairs, He go downstairs to R&D, that's receiving and discharging. That's where you go to change your clothes and get whatever you need to get transferred to the next jail. So Jimmy goes downstairs and to R&D. They take him down there handcuffed now because he ain't orderly no more. So when he get down there, they already got the Crips and all that down there, and everybody's handcuffed against the wall. And he got his he against the wall, and they do their little paperwork, and then they put each person in the cell. You understand? So it was so much people leaving that day, and the police was so mad at Lil Jimmy for trying to stab Indiana while he was an orderly, supposed to be trusted working for him, that now they want to throw poor Jimmy to the wolves. So now they got all these, Bloods and Crips and everybody in this holding cell, in this big holding cell. And it's about 20 dudes in there. Now, here they go. They do Jimmy paperwork, and they put Jimmy in the cell with all these goddamn Bloods that he's just stabbed, and that's why he was on PC. Not by choice. They put him on PC. They call that administrative detention. You know what I mean? So they put Jimmy in the shoe in the holding cell. So when they put him in the holding cell, soon as he get up in there, them Bloods get to whooping him, man. Yo, they stomped Jimmy out in that joint. They beat Jimmy like he was a runaway slave, man. But I ain't gonna front. Little Jimmy was fighting back, man. Jimmy was fighting back, but they was going at it. They was in there fighting. He ain't stand a chance because he ain't have his knife with him. You know what I mean? Mind you, he getting transferred. So he ain't have his knife with him. They didn't have no knife. That's why the police did it. They did not that they cared so much, but he didn't have no knife. So they put him in the cell with all them damn Bloods. And once they got up in the Bloods, they went to wrecking, Beat little Jimmy down like it was nothing, But it was just crazy, man. It was just crazy. But, so after they beat him down, they wound up, letting the medical check him out, separated him in the cell that he was in, and then they flew him over to Oklahoma, So now he gets over to Oklahoma, right? So when he gets to Oklahoma, as soon as he gets off the plane in Oklahoma, they put you again in a room with a bunch of other inmates, but now it's inmates coming in from all the different prisons that's going there before they get their paperwork reviewed and they decide where they're going to put them, And that's where Jimmy runs into one of his Chinese friends. I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to let it go. Hit the like button. Cop the book of Roy in Harlem. Set a cash app. Do what you got to do. Show some love. Hit the like button. All that. All right? Keep it going. Let's do this.
Mecca what? Mecca audio.
All right?